Hello, Akiba Schechter. I hope you're doing well. This week, I'd like to share with you a thought regarding our Parasha Toldot. I've always wondered when speaking with people, when I first learned their names, what exactly is the meaning behind their name and why their parents gave them that particular name versus calling them something totally different. The names and even the nicknames that we acquire, that we take on throughout our life, often have a great influence on who we are and who we become, as well as an influence on others. And in fact, I would venture to suggest that we could claim that the names and nicknames that we acquire throughout our lives are really the coming to fruition of a bracha, of a blessing that our parents give us at birth. This week in synagogues around the world, we will read Parasha Toldot, in which we learn about the birth of Esav and Yaakov. In chapter 25, verse 27 of Sefer Breshit, we learn a little bit about each of these children. And the text says, and I quote, "When the boys grew up, Esav became a skilled hunter, a man of the outdoors. But Yaakov was a mild man and stayed in camp." I wish to emphasize the text description of Yaakov. In Hebrew, it says, "V'Yaakov ish tam, yoshev ohalim." That Yaakov was a simple or a pure person who dwelled in tents. Rashi picks up and teaches us that the tents that he were dwelling in were actually the yeshiva of Shem and Aver. That is to say that Yaakov becomes known, according to the rabbis, as a scholar, that model of Jewish leadership. The description of Yaakov as an ishtam, a pure person, as far as we know, this nickname was only given to one other person in history. That is Rashi's grandson, Yaakov ben Me'er, known as Rabbeinu Tam, due to his love and devotion to the study of Talmud and other Jewish sources. One of the famous teachings of Rabbeinu Tam, or I should say, what he is known for, is a major machloket, a disagreement between himself and his grandfather, Rashi. And that disagreement was over the order of the parchments, the Seder HaParshiot, the order of the parchments of the Shema that we find within the tefillin that we put on each weekday morning during our tefillot, our prayers. While the normative Jewish practice, the normative halakha, is to follow Rashi's order, there is some Jews who actually wear both. Later on in the service, they remove the Rashi tefillin and they put on the Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. Rabbi Yisrael Meir Kagan HaKohen, better known as the Chafetz Chaim, was one such person. For the majority of his life, according to the halakha, he wore Rashi tefillin, like many of us do. But it was only towards the latter years of his life that he decided to go ahead and to put on both Rashi tefillin and then later in the service to put on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. Why would he make such a change, a development in his own Jewish practice, his own connection to Hashem? The story goes that as he was getting older, the Chafetz Chaim became more and more concerned that his days were limited, that they were numbered, and that he would soon pass away, as which will happen to all of us at some point, may it be for many years. And thus he became concerned that when he went up to heaven, not only will he meet the Kadosh Baruch Hu, God, but he would also run into Rabbeinu Tam. And that Rabbeinu Tam, Rabbi Yaakov ben Meir, would ask him, Chafetz Chaim, why didn't you wear my tefillin the way I understood them? And the Chafetz Chaim thought about this and came to the conclusion that he did not have a good answer. And therefore, he decided that Rabbeinu Tam's opinion could be equally as appropriate as Rashi's in terms of the orders of the Parshiot of the Shema in the Tefillin. And so, like many Jews, he started wearing both pairs of Tefillin at different points in our morning tefillot, our morning prayer. The story and our Parasha Toldot teach us a number of important lessons that I'd like to highlight for you. The first is no matter what age we are, no matter where we are on our Jewish ladder of observance, Judaism and Jewish living offers us an opportunity for religious spiritual growth in our relationship with God. And secondly, the names we are given and the names that we bequeath to our children, or the nicknames that we acquire throughout our lives, often influence our lives and the lives of the people we interact with daily. Just as the Chafetz Chaim rethought his religious practice, so too we should all find that practice, that mitzvah, that will enhance our lives in growing closer to God. This is what our Parsha teaches us means to be a descendant of Yaakov Avinu. Shabbat Shalom.